Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and we will be heading for the first report of the program for tonight, focusing on the presidential activities and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's participation in the 7th African Union Mid-Year Summit in Malabo of Equatorial Guinea. We will be having more details in the upcoming report. Stay tuned.
President Fattah al-Sisi arrived in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea to attend the African Union's 7th mid-year coordinating meeting on Sunday. The annual summit brings together a select group of African heads of state to coordinate between the EU regional economic communities and regional mechanisms. President al-Sisi's participation reflects Egypt's current leadership roles within the EU system, specifically its chairmanship of the North African Regional Capability and the Steering Committee of Heads of State and the Government of the African Union Development Agency. President al-Sisi presents Egypt's efforts to strengthen both mechanisms with a focus on peace, security, and their links to development goals across the continent. This year's meeting takes place under the EU's 2025 theme, Justice for Africans and People of African Descent Through Reparations. This annual coordination platform plays a pivotal role in aligning continental and regional priorities, assessing the implementation of Agenda 2063, and promoting effective integration between the EU and its regional mechanisms. The 2025 coordination meeting comes at a time of renewed emphasis on internal consolidation and global positioning. The MYCM has evolved into a cornerstone of EU institutional coordination, with only 17 countries having implemented the EU's 0.2% import levy to fund continental activities. Budget discussions this year will be especially crucial. Moreover, the Union's credibility on matters of justice, reparations, and inclusive governance will be tested as it reflects on progress made in the first half of the thematic year. Decisions and declarations from the Malabo meeting will shape continental governance priorities ahead of the February 2026 AU summit.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me in the studio for tonight Dr. Mohamed Mokhtar, the International Relations and Cooperation expert. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International and the Daily Debate.
I'm very glad to be joining your programs and discuss what about Africa, what about the president activity related to the important place we are in as Africa.
Yes, exactly. As you mentioned, Doctor, the presidential activities of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi participating in the 7th mid-year coordination meeting in Malabo of Equatorial Guinea, the representation of Egypt in the African Union mid-year summit. How do you see the importance and the significance of it?
It's very urgent matter related to what's going on in the whole world, and Africa is, I mean, it's the gate, and it's a very good piece of gold, a piece of jewel in the old world. And related to what's going on in the world, that our president is dedicated and try to communicate and communicate with Africa to it's pushing what's going on in the world, because it's getting feedback to Africa, especially in economy and especially in life related to Africa needs. And I need to mention a very good word. Africa could be more, and European Union, but we need some management, some pushing communication. I mean, using God-given in related to the place of Africa, and corporate together. At one hand, it be more than European Union. I believe in what I mentioned, because I'm traveling abroad in Africa, and was response to this file related to Arab Union. Africa really is a great place. All what you could desiring from material, from components, from anything you think, you will find in Africa.
So what about the main goals for Egypt to be participating in this summit, in your opinion?
In my opinion, Egypt tried to pushing to be on one world, to be manage the needs of Africa, to active the goals, putting in what we needed from, I mean, to have a visions and mission, and pass this message to whole world, to corporate Africa, to give us a little bit hand, all right? And most of the needs of what's going on in running business related to Africa, just take and leave. I mean, what I mean is under that word meaning so much. I mean, to give the experience, especially for international companies or international organization which is working for. I'm just thinking about what I need. Take and then give this.
My own benefit.
Yes. Yeah, my own benefit.
Yes.
You are right, sir. You are right.
So what about the main needs of Africa and the Africans, as you mentioned?
Africa needs a little bit experience from the experienced people. And this is why our President Abdel Sisi tried to manage and try to cooperate with several governments in Africa. And for example, we're giving him the academy, Egypt Academy, related to, managed by the President. We said the National Academy, to train and to coordinate all the management team, all the governmental decisions, to have why and know how to take decisions, how to benefit them countries. Egypt tried to manage and handle in that, and to cooperate with several governments related to Africa to be as a one-man world. Why? And we need also to stop in that sense and ask one question. Yes. Why or no? Why is, for example, that the European Union or the NATO, for example, is always push them words to whole world? Why? Because they control, them get the upper hand. Why Africa doesn't get the upper hand? This is the needs. Understand what's the missing, understand what's the gaps, and evaluate the problems, and put these problems to be solved as soon as we could, and make the corrective action related to both ways, long term or short term. And this is why Egypt tried to communicate, to be very close. And if we found any problems related to any countries related to Africa, Egypt is in and give open the hand what we need. And never Egypt get in decision of the government. It's cooperate with the government and the needs of this the peoples in African countries to have decision makers, especially making several type of union in Africa, because we see that and cooperate and manage and putting people's know them countries' needs is the better solutions to found a good African country.
So what about the continental cooperation? How can we, as Egyptians, be playing a role to be having a bigger and better relations between the African states to the end of a better economic and diplomatic continental cooperation and collaboration?
This is of course what our ministry Abdel tried to doing, and all the government try to have open associations related to the businessman in Africa and Egypt. And of course, we have several companies. I don't want to mention the name because it would be a type of advertising.
Yes.
It's working now in Africa, and we give them the experience, then the knowledge, and we take from the countries, people of the countries, try to educate them, to let them know how we do that, from construction to technical to the operation to the maintenance part of any project related to Africa. That's why we try to give them. As we usually know, let the people take them future-wise, select the type of features, know what they need, just advising them, and let the people from the countries is aware of them case. Is better than the take without take and leave. Don't give them solutions, and give them the solution reference to understanding the needs. And the first country involved, as usual, is Egypt. In Africa.
Yes.
In any problems, any dedications, any against, always Egypt say, no one allow to enter Africa, especially the countries, the people. Them take them decisions. We try to supporting, we try to give them a solution, we try to give them the hand, and let the people take the decision, not you getting in to type of your needs or your benefits only from one part. As always, the games and the economy needs, it's win-win situations, no one part win. This is the problem in Africa.
Yes, Doctor, today we have seen the speech of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi stating a number of facts, a number of goals, a number of challenges for the Africans. One of them is to be implementing the African Union Agenda of 2063. How do you see the importance of having this agenda and ways of implementing them, doing at least our part as Egyptians? Did we do our part for the past 10 or 11 years under the tenure of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi? How did we do it? How we will be building upon it for the future?
We try to building several types of economy and also strategic diplomatic things since our President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi doing that, and it been achievement and very clear yet that the communicate and serving and coordination with Africa is being very more gaining,
yes,
more exchanging,
yes,
and the economy with also with numbers, it been increasing, whatever exporting and importing, and very clear example what will happen in Russian, the using BRICS.
Yes,
there was an invitation from Russian to all Africa. It was there. And there was a date of military day in Russian, and they had to invite most the countries from Africa to be in.
President al-Sisi was there.
When the President al-Sisi, of course,
yes,
was there, and our military. We have representative team from our military was there.
Forces, yes.
This is show well how the type and the gaining and type A communication, type A or number one from communicating military and economy and diplomatic also. And was there our ministry, Mr. had been changed. The things is what just only diplomatic. No, it's been changed to moving to economy and commercial. Discussed with things. Just also the diplomatics and agenda and signatures and it had been how to achieve, how to get this valid already. That was really different changing in our diplomatic and economy change related to Africa profile or Africa file.
Yes, and finally, Doctor, we have seen several opportunities. You mentioned that Africa is like a jewel.
Yes,
it has
of course.
A lot of riches. So we have opportunities in Africa, but we also have challenges, a bit obstructing of those opportunities to be implemented on the ground. What are the main opportunities and the main challenges facing them for Africans?
To be answered that things, we should have a schedule. This schedule show what? Advantages and disadvantages,
yes,
related to African file. Egypt well understanding that and very clear the message to all the African countries. This is the needs, this is the problems, this is the solution, how to get in. For, as I mentioned, was from just a couple of minutes about Russian invitation. If Of course, if Russia don't needs or there is no benefits to fund African countries there, we cannot be there.
Yes.
We know well the case and what is the solution in the case. As I mentioned also before, that on long term or short term, and we're working in a post file to passing on now what we're facing from problem and needing to the economy and missing of the financial and I mean also reference to the UN requirements related to the business and the environment and several type of file and business developments, and working in a post file in a post way and get gravitate the only opportunity economy opportunity to have businessmen from whole world to be in Africa.
Yes.
To have a running business there in Africa.
Yes, hopefully for the benefit of Egypt and the African continent. Dr. Mohamed Mokhtar Darwish, the International Relations and Cooperation expert, thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
I'll be glad.
Anytime.
And wish our Egypt also to be more and more, inshallah.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. However, I will be leaving you with the latest presidential activities for President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi that took place over the past week, all wrapped up in the upcoming report. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi receives the Speaker of Libya's House of Representatives, Councillor Aqila Saleh. The meeting reviews the latest developments on the Libyan scene. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi receives President of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Dr. Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, in Al Alamein city. The two presidents hold a closed bilateral session of talks on ways to foster closer bilateral ties, as well as developments in the region and the continent. In Al Alamein city, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi meets with the Director General of Russia's Rosatom State Atomic Energy Corporation, Mr. Alexei Likhachev, during his visit to Egypt. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi receives the Premier of the State Council of China, Li Keqiang. He expresses China's pride in having close relations with Egypt, which are built on a long history of strategic partnership. Views are exchanged on regional and international developments. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi arrives in Equatorial Guinea to participate in the 7th Mid-Year Coordination Summit meeting of the African Union.